All right. Welcome back. We got another special guest in the building.
Well, that does come in handy. All right.
Today, we talk about... Yeah, so the Campout. Mikey Dab, welcome.
Well, what's going on, bud?
Yeah, dude. So I've been trying to make this happen for like almost a year now, I think.
He's lying. I definitely was like, oh, you want me to come up? I'm there. Don't worry.
But yeah, no, I'm super happy to have you, man. This is going to be fun because like usually, and I'm trying to remember what episode this is. I always lose count, but...
Does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. They'll find out when they're listening. But yeah, Mike, I've come to know first online, and then I would say you're my first YouTube personality that I met in person.
Really?
Ever? Yeah, I think. Yeah.
It was sneakers though, so like.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, sneakers are a big deal for us, right? So it was kind of cool to like start following you. So you have the Campout channel, and I actually first started finding out about you from back when I first started collecting.
Are you going to say what I think you're going to say?
I don't know.
What are you going to say? I
Reebok Ventilator, the street meat video, and I saw you doing the interview with Extra Butter, and then that kind of got me into the whole channel as far as like your releases, and then now you're doing the breakdown, and then this was back in the bare bones era of the breakdown.
That was the first episode.
Was it?
That was the very first episode. Yeah. I was like, you guys want to do it? They're like, sure. Like, how many of you? I was like, I don't have any subscribers. I'm just doing a video. I like the shoe.
Yeah, and your subscriber base wasn't anything really, and
it's still nothing.
Yeah, and it's pretty decent. You're coming in on 10K now, right? On YouTube, right? But I mean, your Instagram is way bigger of a deal. So I should plug you in the beginning because I found out that people tune out within minutes.
Oh, like 5 or 6 minutes, I think is like the standard.
Yeah, so let's tell them where we can find you. So the Campout with a 0 on Instagram.
That is 100% correct.
As well as YouTube, right?
Yes.
Are you on anything else?
Twitter, but
not really. Okay.
I don't know. I don't really tweet.
Yeah, me neither. Not my thing. But yeah, so your Instagram following is definitely a lot bigger. So I imagine you've probably just been at it longer, or
I engage a lot more on the Instagram. Okay. Like I talk to like the DM's always empty. Like no matter who hits me up about what, I answer.
Got it.
Even if it's negative, and I come back with a comment. It's just clear always.
Right.
So I feel like that's definitely like a reason why people are always like, oh, just hit them up on Instagram.
Right. And you probably started way earlier. I want to say what, 2013-ish, maybe earlier?
I started on Mikey Dab. That was like my original. And then I was always camping out. And they were like, oh, you camping out? And I was like, That's a nice ring to it. So like I wound up like transitioning to the Campout with with an O first, and then I switched to the 0. It was like a whole thing, but that was probably like 2013, 2014, around there.
I think that's definitely a factor too, because it was way less saturated, especially for sneaker YouTube or sneaker Instagram or whatever, sneaker culture. I mean, obviously the culture was always there, but as far as like publicizing and social media, it was like a whole different ballgame, right? So I came in at that time. So I started collecting hardcore 2016 and then didn't really know what the fuck I was doing until maybe 2017. So
well, when you say hardcore, I'm going to start interviewing you now. When you say like hardcore, like when you come in, I think it's more, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, it's more of like a passion thing where you're like, oh, I really like that. I really like those. Oh, those are dope. And you're like, oh, I'll buy those. And then you buy, and then it's like a snowball effect where you're like, oh shit, every week I'm buying a shoe. What the fuck's going on? But that is theoretically what happens.
Yeah. And obviously, everyone collects for different reasons. You guys, what's impressive, so every week you guys have a breakdown show every Thursday at 8 p.m. Don't be late. Don't know my voice. I wish you would still do the intro.
I miss those, by the way. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, KB, I love that you're doing it now, but yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. No shade, though.
There's definitely controversy on that opener.
But no, it's a cool dynamic you guys have going on. Every week, every Thursday, going over the releases and then going over topics. Basically, almost like a podcast format. I feel like you guys should maybe turn it into more of a podcast.
I was asked a couple times by the two of them, Tone of My Voice and KB1ACK23, if you're looking for them on Instagram, plug shamelessly.
Word.
About doing the podcast. I'm like, it's just another thing I have to do.
No, but I'm saying like the breakdown. Why don't you turn the breakdown into just a weekly podcast?
I could just take the audio out and just throw it up, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Honestly.
I just don't. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, it is work. Like even this, like I'm so over editing and fucking, dude. Yeah, you know the deal. So it's just like I'm so over it. And you guys go out on all these picture adventures and all that kind of shit. And that's time consuming in and of itself. So
I picked up a lot more on my photography. Like I love doing. That's like another thing I love doing. I just like taking pictures. So it turned into a little bit of a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, I really like your photos. And like because I like doing it, I don't really charge people that much until like somebody need something of special magnitude, then of course I have to charge. But like 9 times out of 10, it's free. So like I'll go out, and then all of a sudden I see it's like 3 a.m. and I'm still editing photos.
Yep.
I'm like, and then I'm editing video. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. So I started to outsource that to some editors. I've got an editor now who
Plug me.
puts right.
Plug me, please.
He puts up all the stuff for me. So annoying. So I have to. If you know an audio guy that knows, like this is. Yeah, this is like the Apple version of like a soundboard. It's like very simplified, so even a dummy like me can use it. But like for some reason, I can't figure out why. Sometimes, like you were here, sometimes it's instant works, and then sometimes it takes a delay. And I guarantee you, in like another half hour, as we're still talking, it'll be back to like real time again. So I don't know what the issue is. Yeah,
it's very weird.
But anyway, so yeah, I have this editor now, and he actually does all the podcasting stuff. So like I just send him the audio and the visuals, and he chops them up and puts them into bits, and then does the whole uploading to all the podcast app stuff and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't even want to deal with that.
We're
stuff,
gonna get in touch real soon. After
John, he'll be in touch.
Hey John, what's up, buddy? Nice to meet you.
I actually just interviewed him for I think my second to last episode I did of this, but yeah, super nice guy. But this is not about him. This is about you. So let's go back to you real quick.
John, we're still good.
Yeah. I actually wanted to maybe do a second episode of this kind of thing with you, just dedicated to the topic of sneaker YouTube history.
Ooh.
Because someone asked me to do that kind of video, and I felt like this would be a great like podcast type of episode where we go through the history of how it evolved. And I'm trying to remember just off the top of my head how I found myself into it, because before I even bought my first pair of like sneakers, I was just consuming sneaker YouTube. And I want to say it started from just a straight up DJ Khaled complex closet tour. And I was just like, what the fuck is this Beauty and the Beast library type of shit with the red ladder and just like this beautiful setup is just gorgeous. And I'm just like, wow, that's something I want. And then
that's scary, by the way. It's scary.
Next thing you know, I'm watching every complex sneaker shop in like the early ones. Next thing I know, that leads me in, right. That leads me into United Souls and fucking.
I was hoping you were gonna bring that. I thought you were gonna start off with those.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. And also, what else? And that led to Sneaker Addict, fucking Foamer Simpson, like you name all these earlier on guys that were like.
Foamy was definitely the reason why I started watching YouTube, because I was like, I really like the runner scene, and nobody was really doing runners, which is hard because like everybody has a Nike. Nike. So he would do like these backyard style like reviews. I remember his Miami review was like on the fence, and it was like the shoes were on the fence, and he was like on a picnic table. I was like, what is going on? But I love that shoe, so it kind of like hooked me. And then I started doing YouTube because I was missing the fundamentals of why buy a shoe.
Right.
Like, I can watch you, sure, but I want to see the product I want to spend my money on, especially when resale was really starting to kick up then. And it was like, all right, well, $300, $450, $550, $600 for a pair of shoes. Where can I find out about it before I spend that kind of money? Do I really like the color blocking? Does it look comfortable? Is it worth purchasing? Like, nobody does that. So, like, I was like, you know what? You don't need me. You need the shoe. So that's my style.
Right. No, it's definitely dope. And I definitely watched a few of yours just for that reason. And then you get these newer age, I mean, just skipping obviously years ahead. Now you got these newer age guys that have pretty much perfected it. We're talking like your Sean Goes, your Seth Fowlers, like they have just made essentially a living off of just impeccable visuals along with talking technical details and all these other things, which I don't find personally that important for me. It's just like, does it have some component of storytelling and inspiration to it that I enjoy, and do I really like it? That's what I'm going to go for. So materials and this and that everyone else focuses on, I get it, but because it's not a priority for me, it's not something I focus on my channel. It's more just like, let's goof off and talk shoes. For me, it's more like the history of the shoe.
There you go. See your box up. Just
right.
It's sitting there, staring at you, mocking everyone. It's
right. Little Mars. No, I've just been too lazy to put it away. I'm running out of space, man. You'll see the shoe room in a minute, but yeah, man, it's just that's just how I got into it, was just like consuming all this fucking sneaker content. Next thing you know, the Kaius Omars and the Sneakerhead Be Like series, and then and the olden days where he's doing like the goofy shit with like the blindfold. Guess the sneakers. It's just like it was at that. Like I find it a little cheesy now, but at the time I loved it because like it taught me about shoes. Like I was learning about shoes from Kaius, just from him goofing off with his friends, because his friends don't know jack shit about sneakers. Probably still don't. But like, it's just funny. Like that's how I was learning. Okay, this is what a Jordan 12 is. This is what a Jordan 10 is. Like I was like just my basic knowledge of like, okay, how do I recognize the silhouettes and all that kind of stuff.
Google.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this was like I consume more from an audiovisual perspective. So like YouTube was perfect for that, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to think of who else was kind of on that. Franlations and who else was kind of. a Hess Kicks, obviously. And then there was someone else that fell off. Sneakerhead in the Bay. Who was it? Dan Tier Zero, part of this United Soul series. Is it a big deal?
It's not really like a terrible thing. I think everybody just wanted to part their own ways.
Guys, because so just to fill the audience in and some background. So when I first caught wind of you was on this United Souls type of series, and then Dan Tier Zero was again one of these YouTubers that was very bare bones, just talking about sneakers he liked, and a lot of it wasn't your traditional hype stuff. It was like a lot of Kith stuff, and that was kind of his lane. And that was kind of cool to see, especially because as I was learning more about Kith, I wanted to find more videos about Kith, and he was one of the only ones covering those kinds of sneakers.
Well, Paulie too. Paulie was doing like early on like salmon toe before.
Oh right, I saw his video about it. Yeah, but he didn't have his own channel, right? It was really just Dan that was doing his own thing.
What was the name of his channel? Oh my god,
I think it was just Dan Tier Zero.
No,
right?
it was like, so he had this hip hop channel that he used to produce, and I forget the name of it. I'm drawing a blank on it, but he started doing reviews on that channel also.
Okay.
And you would find like salmon toe. What the hell was the name? It's gonna bother me now that I mentioned the name of his radio channel. But anyway.
That's right. If you remember later, we'll give it to John to plug in.
I'll shoot it to you. I'll find it actually. Now it's gonna bother me. But yeah, so we did like salmon toes and like 2 other shoes, and then I started rolling into, and I went back and found those after we started because we linked at Kith releases.
Right. So you met him before the YouTube stuff. You met him in person.
He might have been doing the YouTube stuff already. I don't know, but like I know that I met him through sneaker releases, like
in-person
Campout
stuff.
stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So and then yeah, just throughout the course of those videos, I noticed that they were doing these United Souls type videos and these debates, which were also kind of fun. And then it was sometimes you would make guest appearances. KB actually I saw in a couple of those videos.
KB wound up like, well, same thing with the breakdown. Like she comes for an episode, for us like and doesn't go anywhere. So the same thing we did, but it was cool though because it's a nice dynamic to have like the male perspective and the female perspective. But it winds up being the same thing anyway. Like if something's dope, it's dope no matter who's viewing it.
So then, so what happened with that? So you like it just falling out of like just people wanting to go their own ways, but it's not even like they're doing their own thing anymore. I don't see them very active much.
So like in real time, what had happened was we were doing a studio in Jersey where we were shooting like every other Sunday. So we would, I would drive out to Jersey, we would do that. And then we had the Sneakermon battle. That was like another thing that we were doing. And then I was like, all right, well, next season we got to switch it up because I don't want to drive to Jersey every other Sunday. So we wound up doing it in Queens. And then it became like, it was just a lot, everybody's busy, everybody's things going on. And it was just like, all right, I'm over it. I wasn't over it, obviously. But it just came to the point where everybody was like, all right, Dan was doing his thing. I want to say Paulie was doing his thing too. Kristen was doing her thing. And I was like, all right, well, when I started the breakdown, it was like the next week. I was like, I don't care if anybody's on it. I just like doing the show. So I'm just going to keep doing it. So it was like a smooth transition, and that was it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's
Josh too. I forgot about Josh.
Which one was Josh?
Josh was the skinny guy. Spanish, dark skin.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Josh was like, I think he was on it the whole time, almost. Yeah, it was on it the whole time. So it was Paulie, Dan, Josh, myself, and then after like the first season, Kristen was in.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now it's been a while since I even watched one of those, and some of them are hard to watch, man, because the audio is so bad. The visuals are obviously not holding up for 4K standards now, so it's kind of a shame. But yeah, it's like one of those timeless things as far as like my memories of learning about sneakers. Like a lot of it came from those kinds of things because you guys were definitely covering certain topics that like no one else was covering.
A vast majority of topics.
Yeah. Yeah,
everything evolves.
Exactly. So let me ask also about your Campout line, I guess. So like you, how long has this been going on?
Oh, so back to Paulie again. So like I met Paulie, he was doing the similar thing for Kith, or that's basically what he was doing in a different way. I'll leave it at that. And then as like the transition from the United Souls happened, like we'd become cool. Like I never went out there to be like, oh, I'm gonna be cool with people so I can get shoes. Like I was a grown adult. I had a whole career before I went back into doing shoes again.
Right.
And it was one of those situations where it was like, all right, I'm cool with you. We're cool. And then I would do lineups until he showed up and then so on and so forth. And like through that, you build a relationship. Everything is time. Not like you get in there and it's instant gratification like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, right.
And after like a year and a half or so, like I was cool with the guys at Kith. I was cool with the guys at Butter. Like I'm an easygoing person. Like I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. So after United Souls had finished, he was basically leaving the sneaker scene. And they were like, well, do you mind doing it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't mind doing it. I'm already here doing it as it is. So, and then it just kind of picked up from that. And that was probably like 19? That's got to be like 2015, around there. So for like 5 years.
Is this mostly just Kith?
So mostly Kith. I was doing Supreme. I would go out there super early before they even started doing the security system thing. Concepts when they first opened up. Extra buttering the times that they would need it if I was there. But realistically, I was camping out for myself. It was big. The 25th anniversary for ASICS was big that year. So like I was at every shoe release because I wanted it for myself. And they were like, well, if Mike's there, I'm going to go because I know it's going to be organized and it's going to be fair. I don't have to worry about people coming at 6 a.m. and cutting.
Right,
and the stores were like going by it also. So it just worked out for everybody. I'm like, oh, Campout's there. We're good to go.
Right.
So and it just kind of stayed that way.
Gotcha. So whatever happened to the app? Because you were trying to streamline that into.
If you know a developer that wants to come on board.
So you haven't even developed the app yet?
No. The app has been fully developed. I used it for the Off-White release of the Converse. I believe it was the first one. And the way that they made me use it, if you guys are familiar with the app or unfamiliar, basically you get a bar or a QR code based on your personal settings. You get to a release. The store has the event set up. You scan in. Your name now pops up on a list. You can either randomize it via the store or the store can keep it as a first come, first serve, yada, yada, yada. They want to do this whole other thing where I notify people. Anyway, they screwed my whole setup up to something that they wanted to use. And then in the interim of going back to the other way, like things got crossed. My developer wasn't the best developer, and it took them too long as it was. So like right now I'm on hiatus.
Gotcha.
So
right. So
funding,
if
funding.
Any budding developers out there that want to help out, definitely reach out. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wish that was a strength of mine, but sadly it is not.
Well, I took a class. I went to Pace. Like I can code. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no,
I do not want to do
it's
that.
Not my speed. But let's see. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was as far as boutiques. I know you've had problems with Supreme in the past, and qualms with them,
Packers,
and
Supreme, A-Life, you name it.
Yeah. So, like with Kith, how's the relationship with Kith lately? Because I know, at least from watching the show of late, you guys have been feeling a lot of what Kith has been doing compared to their older stuff. But I mean, how much of that is just natural progression of their brand and what they're trying to do versus your taste and taste
I think
changing?
it's a little bit of both. It's definitely a little bit of both. Like, I mean, me personally, like I like everybody in the store. It has nothing to do with a personal relationship. Like I'm cool with probably 90% of everybody in Kith. But at the same time, as a person who buys product, I would like to see certain things, like anybody would like to see certain things from brands that they've always messed with. Like you said that you liked Kith from early on. You liked the runner stuff. If they brought that back, would you be upset?
No.
Exactly. But the progression of like the way it's going now is you can see, like with everything, you progress. Like you might start off bad at YouTube like myself, and then you progress to a little bit better and a little bit better, a little bit different. And like some people who originally liked you aren't going to like you anymore because they like that pure form of YouTube.
Right.
It's the same thing. But I mean, the relationship is always going to be the relationship.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get a lot of flack for, not a lot of flack, but my views haven't been as good ever since I started doing more of a podcast format as opposed to like
your spicy chip challenge. Like, it's definitely different, but like you grow.
Yeah, it's like it's just an evolutionary type of thing. Not that I don't like those kinds of things, but there's so many factors like incorporating more comedy. The amount of work I'm doing when I'm out in Iowa. I'm just exhausted when I get home. Daylight's gone, I can't use that. And then when I get back here, I'm so exhausted from the 2 weeks I was working. I'm just like, oof, I just want to play PlayStation and just like not talk to fucking anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a lot. But and then add in the editing and all this other stuff. So luckily with the help of these other resources, it's opening me back up to do those kinds of things. But I'm just trying to find a new balance of like, how do I like kind of get everything to kind of flow? Yeah, dude, it's key. But let's see, what else is on the horizon for you?
So I just kicked off a podcast with.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so like that's been like 6 months in the making. I don't know if anybody remembers, but Jeff had put out like a tweet. They're looking for a host for a new show on Hypebeast. Jeff Staple. Yeah,
does he own Hypebeast? Because I see his photo on one of them.
I don't know what's going on with that. I just know that they asked me to come shoot. So I was like, all right, listen, if that's what you want me to do, that's what I'm coming to do. But so like he was basically heading up the I guess the radio department because he has a show on there also.
Yeah, I saw his thumbnail.
I want to say he produces maybe some of the other podcasts that do come out as far as the content. So I don't know what his involvement is 100%, but I just know that he hit me up or responded to me because I was like, I just threw it out there. I was like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I believe. So I threw it out there. He hit me back. He's like, yeah, come in for a pilot. We did the pilot, and that was probably like 5 or 6 months ago.
So that wasn't what is available now?
So I shot that last week. So shout out Christina Hong. She edited super fast. She's one of the other producers that takes care of the radio stuff, but she's fantastic. Anyway, couple months go by, and I was like, hey, Jeff, just wondering what's going on with that podcast. And he was like, oh, no, we're working on stuff. We're doing like transit. I was like, okay, cool. Just checking it. I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't want to also seem like, guy, I want to get on this podcast. I want to do. It's got to be chill.
Yeah.
So he hits me back maybe like 3 weeks ago. It's like, hey, we need your headshot because we're going to get going. We need this information, that information. I was like, all right, cool. So then I drop in Friday. Friday was the only day. I was supposed to go on Thursday. Went in Friday. We shot the episode, and that was it. Simple, nice and easy. The editors are mad cool. Not everybody's as comfortable behind a mic. I'm pretty sure you've experienced that.
Yeah.
You're a little nervous. Plus, you have to make them feel comfortable.
Right.
Like you don't want to sit down and like interview someone and you're like, so yes, no. All right, have a good day. Yeah, nobody wants that. So you get there's certain personality traits that you need to carry over, or you need to be as a personality doing, especially speaking. You know, keep people engaged is difficult. Yeah, but yeah, it's dope. I like the layout, and the best part about it is I don't have to bullshit, so to speak. I don't know, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't have to follow their set course of action. So obviously, Hypebeast, High Snowball, they all get paid by brands to promote their stuff, like any major business or whatever. So he was like, listen, I want you to be you and we'll be us. So they come in from their perspective, which is their perspective. They obviously have to be a little bit more.
I feel like you didn't talk too much on that episode, though.
It was light. It was very light based on the topics, though. Like I don't want to drag it out for no reason.
Right.
It can be short. It can be short. And if it needs to be long, it'll go long. Like Bob from Sneakers, I can do that for an hour. Easy. Yeah. So always talk about collaborations. I'll do that for 2 hours.
Is this going to be like a weekly thing? Or?
Yeah. So right now it is the Hype Report. It's supposed to be a weekly thing every either I think Saturday or Monday is when it's going to drop. But I guess once we get into like a more uniform setup, I'll know more specifics. Gotcha. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's the space like for that? Because I mean. No, I meant not physical, more like how many more podcasts are we going to have about hype this and sneaker release this and that and that? Because there are a number of them, right?
That's a great question.
So what's differentiating you guys?
So I listened to a few of them just to get a vibe for like what the market is or like what's really going on behind the scenes. You can listen to more underground stuff like The Breakdown, which is, obviously not as mainstream, or you can listen to something like, I'm trying to think of another good one. I can't think of it.
Yeah, do you have a favorite? A go-to podcast?
So I listen to The Business of Hype quite a bit, and that's not a shameless plug for Jeff at all. I just like that podcast just because it's usually someone that I am familiar with, and I don't know their backstory, or I want to know more about their backstory. So it's like, all right, I'm going to listen to that, and then an hour and 45 minutes go by, and I'm on my second one, or I'll go listen to one that I've already heard. It just doesn't make it. But I want to learn something. I don't want to just hear opinions per se, you know what I'm saying?
Like a ESPN First Take type of shit?
Yeah, exactly. So like I try to steer towards that kind of stuff. I do like Foamy's podcast, even though it's like 2 guys or 3 guys really bullshitting. Right. Like I enjoy their rhetoric, which is another thing too. So like it's like I said before, it's about personality. So if I can vibe with you via your voice and your content, I'll stay there. I'm listening to.
That's fair.
That's in the car. Like who doesn't?
Actually, yeah. Are you driving around everywhere? Did you drive here?
Hell no.
Okay.
So like I hate driving.
Me too.
So let's get that out. Right off the bat, I hate driving, especially in Manhattan. Horrible.
One of my least favorite things to do.
I love the train. You see that little bag right there? I got my AirPods are in there. My iPod Pro is in there. So if I got to do work, boom, emails pull up, sync it to the phone. We're good to go. That's how I live.
Dope.
That's my life. You need me?
Right. And I feel like this is, it made so much sense the first time I heard it, but it's now that I know about it, it's just like, duh. Like the fact that like sneaker culture in New York is so. Not intense. What's the right word? It's just like it's such a thing because like your sneakers are your car. Like that's what you're.
Yes.
That's what you're walking around in all day on the train from here to A to B to C. You're not like in a car all day like you would be in the suburbs, like where I grew up. So like sneakers would carry more weight because that's kind of like you rolling up with a new hoopty.
Shitty part about that is not everybody cares about that.
Oh, of course not.
Especially like all those shoes are amazing. They're great. They're great for walking. Yeah, but they go for $600. So I'd rather sell them. Like that. That's like the world that is New York.
Right.
Most people don't understand. Like I get that resale is a thing everywhere because you can do secondary market. You could do from your couch in Iowa. It doesn't make a difference. Where as long as you're getting the product into you, who cares what you do with it?
Right.
But here is definitely a different beast because there's so many different locations that you can attain from. So,
Yeah.
New York.
Meh is the exact answer. Like it's starting to get old for me too, man. Like I'm just thinking like, fuck, man, I have a whole room that I'm paying rent for.
Don't you dare.
For sneakers.
Don't you dare. I don't even like where you're going with this right now.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to sell them, but I'm just
old
like.
For you. It's so early. This is way too early for you.
What do you mean early?
It's like early in your sneaker career.
Oh, I know that. But what I'm saying is like sometimes it feels like a burden. It's just like when I first moved here, the entire U-Haul was just the sneakers. Like I didn't have furniture. This all came after, right? So like I
remember your first couple of photos.
Yeah, I rented a U-Haul just to put the sneakers in there, and it was such a bitch moving those things up here alone, just that. And then
you didn't put them in container store stuff. You did just straight up
just the
boxes.
IKEA shelves.
Yeah.
And then And then ordering those and the hassle of setting those up. And I'm just like, all right, well, if I ever move, this is going to be quite the fucking process. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and on top of that, it's like, I'm not here half the time. And then the sneakers are just sitting here. I only have 2 feet. And I'm just
How much
like,
can you wear?
you know, and it's just like, and I know no one cares. Like, no one really cares all that much. So it's just like, what am I doing this for? You know?
It's you. You're doing like, so obviously we have the same issue. I have a room full of shoes. Yeah. They're all in container store boxes. No shameless plug on that, by the way. But it's very organized. If I have to move, they fit all inside of one box. Not all the shoes in one box, but like 6 at a time fit in a box. So you can condense it pretty well. Right.
But my point is like, I'm, and again, grass is always greener, right? Like people are looking at me like, fuck, this asshole has got every shoe I've ever wanted. Off willy-nilly. But meanwhile, I'm thinking like, oh man, it would be cool just to have like a tight rotation of 4 sneakers, keep my life just simple.
You cannot do 4.
I can't anymore, but I'm saying like I wish I could go back to those times.
All right.
You know?
Let's turn my chair.
Ooh, man.
You set yourself up for this.
I would just keep the 4 most priceless sneakers because I knew if I ever wanted the other ones back, I could always just find them again somehow. So on that front, I would have to say, let's see, which 4?
Red Octobers.
What's that? Yeah, of course, definitely. Pigeon Dunks.
Okay.
I guess Watch the Throne LeBron 9s. And yeah.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like it's not even my favorite shoe of all time, but it's like it's the rarest one I may not be able to find ever again. What's another one in that category? Man. The Off-White stuff I could find easy, granted for a lot more money, but the Mars Yards I could probably find again.
Absolutely.
What's another shoe like I just can't find ever again if I lose it? I don't know. I'd have to look at it. We'll go back there and we'll look.
Yeah. Part 2 of this, we'll break that down.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just like
you threw me for a loop on that one with that Watch the Throne video. I did not see that one being even the contention.
Really? What were you expecting?
I would just assume it was going to be something that you loved. I wasn't thinking about the money aspect of it or the exclusivity.
Yeah, because for me, it's. I'm just thinking of it purely of a not a business standpoint, but like, okay, which of these can I get back? Because you hear the story.
Yeah.
You hear the story over and over again, like, oh, man, I sold those and I knew I shouldn't have, and then years later, now I got them again. And I'm just like, I don't want to go through that. So, and if I do go through that, I want it to be a shoe that I can easily get back, you know, because, again, a lot of those times you hear those stories is because you needed the money for something, so you had to flip the shoe, and then next time you were in a good position to get the shoe, you got it back. But in this situation, it would be, yeah, the money's not the issue. It's, okay, how hard are these to find in my fucking size? You know what I mean?
Wait, what size? You're 12?
11.
Oh.
You getting ideas?
Guys, this is over. We're out of here. We're gonna wrap this up right the fuck now.
Yeah, man. So
I thought you were 12.
No. Isn't that Tone? Tone is a 12. No, 11 and a half.
11.5.
11 and a half, yeah. I mean, I have some 12s just because, again, for the same reason. I couldn't find this fucking thing in a 11, so I went to 12.
We'll just say they ran small for the sake. You know,
yeah, right.
They only fit me in a 12.
Yeah, right. Or sometimes I have to resort to the 10 just because, you know.
I've done that.
Yeah, like the Air Max 1 Para Friends and Families. I couldn't find them in anything smaller than a 10 and a half.
Have you worn them?
And luckily, I've tried them on. They luckily fit. But
you took the footbed? The footbed was out, right?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think some of it may have to do with the materials because it's a whole different lining of materials compared to the non-Friends and Family version. I'll show you.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, right.
We'll delve a little deeper.
And I'm trying to think. The Cherrywoods. When I got the Cherrywood Paras, you know, the Air Max 1 Cherrywoods, I just couldn't find them in my size. And if I could, it was like for ridiculous amounts on StockX.
What size you get?
I got 11 or 11 and a half, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I found it
huge
at.
On you, though.
What's that?
Probably huge on you.
No, they fit fine.
11.5 and an Air Max 1. Oh, you're an 11. I'm a 10 and a half, 11. So I guess.
Yeah, 11 and a half and 11 is okay range for me for Air Max 1s. But luckily they just popped up on round 2. And I'd never even been to round 2 before, so I was like, "Oh, dude, I gotta go get these before they're gone because this is a fucking steal."
Well, you know? The good part about like that specific styling, like most people don't realize what it is.
True. Yeah.
Off bat,
yeah.
like obviously,
if it was an Off-White, it would have been gone in minutes.
Jordan, oh my God, I gotta get there and get it. But like Air Max, who gives a shit? Is that burgundy? I don't care.
Actually, let me ask you about that. No, I was going to ask you about you brought up the Jordan 1s. So here's an interesting thing I just thought about. So the Obsidian 1s are coming out, right? And we'll get your thoughts on that. But more broadly speaking, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. A lot of people talk about so-and-so's dead, so-and-so's dead, Yeezys are dead, Off-White's dead, blah, 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 right?
It's all bullshit.
Of course. Now, what's funny to me is you don't hear that same talk about Jordan 1s for some reason. If we were to talk about a so-and-so sneaker is dead discussion, I would resort to the Jordan 1 only because there's been so many of them. And I've been so done with it after the OGs. There hasn't been a single colorway. And I'm trying to think, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but like nothing comes to mind of like a non-OG colorway that I like had to have. Granted, that's just me personally, but you see all these different variations of a black toe, bread toe, this toe, satin. Chicago toe, satin toe, and then a green version, a royal purple, obsidian now. It's just countless Jordan 1s, and they keep coming, and no one tends to do this bullshit that they do with Yeezys of, oh, Jordan 1's dead. Why is that? My opinion is maybe it's just that classic looking of a shoe that it just won't die no matter what you do to it, kind of like an Air Force One that has like thousands and thousands and thousands of colorways. But I don't know, what's your take on it?
You are 1,000% correct. Excuse me. So I think that the Jordan 1 is the original lifestyle basketball sneaker. Like you're not gonna.
Air Force One, technically.
Air Force One, but
technically basketball sneaker.
I give you that, but I feel like lifestyle and styling wise, the Air Jordan 1 was the shoe that it was like, oh, that's fire. Like I can do this up, I can do it down, I can do it no matter what. Like the Air Force One is definitely like it's the Harlem shoe. So like you think of uptowns, they call them uptowns.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's derivative of one location, whereas the Jordan 1 is universal everywhere. You can go to Tokyo, you can go to London, you can go to Australia. There's Jordan 1s everywhere. There's Air Force Ones now everywhere too, but I feel like the association early on was a little different. Plus, it's Jordan 1. Who cares?
Right.
Like, it's not Yeezy where Yeezy talked mad shit about Nike and then went to Adidas and then was with Nike, but went to Adidas and then they took designers from Nike to go to Adidas. Like, there's a lot of like underlying things that maybe isn't mainstream, but for certain people like that collect shoes or like shoes or into that kind of lifestyle, where you kind of disassociate with like I'll say Yeezy's dead for me. I know it's not for the rest of the world though. Like people are still buying it. Will they drop the 700 this past weekend? What happened? Nobody. Oh, people hitting me up. It's my third attempt. I can't get through. Like people were crying about a shoe that's re-releasing from not even a year ago.
Right.
So is Yeezy dead? No, it's never going to die. Yeezy's just going to continue making things. Basketball's next, and there'll be a lifestyle line after that. Like that's exactly what's going to happen. Like all that talk about something being dead isn't really relevant if people are still buying it. Right. So Jordan 1 is never going to die. Yeezy isn't going to die unless he does something atrocious. Like you have to.
Even then, I'll still buy it.
You think so? You're gonna wear that ninja sock?
So ninja sock?
The one he was wearing was like it looked like a wet sock, like a wet shoe. There's no sole. It just looked like a sock. It was a neoprene sock.
I'd have to look back at images. Maybe I haven't seen this one yet.
I'll find it for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. But no, I was gonna say perfect example of this, right? So I buy one of every Yeezy. So from all the way from the Bapestas to the Nike line, the Louis Vuitton line.
You have the 180s?
No, so I don't have those. I technically don't count those because they're samples.
Because I'm looking for
and
those.
the Hirachis.
And like you can't find them.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be another pair. Like if you were to ask me which four I would keep, those would be some. Right. Because if I had them, I'd be like, yeah, I can't find these ever again. So it'd be kind of like that. Now I say all that to say, when the Wave Runner first came out, the Yeezy 700 Wave Runner, when it first came, or not even when it came out, when we first saw images of him wearing it behind those glass walls and whatever, someone like took a little paparazzi shot. Everyone and their mom said, "What the fuck are those?" Like that was the
pinnacle of
that was the statement across the board, right? And I felt the same way, but I was like, dude, it's fucking Yeezy, man. Every release, everyone has said it's ugly, and then time goes by and everyone's like, oh yeah, I had to have those. Oh, I wish I didn't skip on those.
I was confused about the Wave Runner.
Yeah.
And the more I saw it, the more I was like,
yeah,
it's growing.
Next thing you know, that's one of the more common Yeezys I see out on these streets, especially after that general release came out the last time, and now it's back again. So I guarantee you're going to see it all over the place. And the more I see it, the more I'm like, dude, this is a fucking gorgeous sneaker,
and it's comfortable.
And it's comfortable.
It's comfortable as shit.
And there's been multiple colorways that have come out from it now, yet that one stands as like the best one.
I'm not going to lie to you. They did the right thing. They gave you paneling. They put colors on it. And even though the first one was a little crazy with the colors, because it's two different blues or like a green and then a blue.
Get some neon laces and shit.
And then if you look at the what is it, the Antilla, what was it? What was the gray one? Anthracite, whatever it was called.
I lose track of the names.
Basic, great.
Right.
The gray that almost had like a blue tint to it with the, with
inertia.
Infrared, the inertia. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the colorway is on point.
Yeah,
You can't get mad at that. Silhouette's good. It's comfortable and it's fashionable. It's Yeezy. So like most people who don't give a shit about stuff then see Yeezy, like, oh, I'm buying it. I don't care. I'm buying it. Well, so it's a win-win.
And actually, what was I going to say? The Wave Runner to me, the 700 Wave Runner to me is when and I think we're towards the tail end of this dad shoe era, if you will. To me, that's going to be the one that stands out as like the flagship dad shoe when all is said and done. And I can't think of a close second. Some would argue the Balenciaga Triple S, but to me, nah. I don't think it's going to hold the same clout because that was in response to this whole wave. It was never.
Triple S is a fashion shoe, so at the end of the day, like once that fashion trend shifts, it's not going to be viable anymore.
Right. Yeah. Balenciaga does this better than most, I would say, as far as like high end brands that like try to leech into sneakers. Like they do it better than most, I would say, because I'm thinking like Saint Laurent, they had like the Jordan 1 looking shoes, but it's like, dude, I'll just get the Jordan 1. Like, what the fuck is this, right? And then you have what are the Prada? Just horrendous sneakers.
Prada's not good.
I don't know what the fuck they're thinking.
Balenciaga makes a nice shoe. Even
the speed runners, the speed trainers, the sock shoe.
The shoe thing that they do. The what the hell is it called? I forget the name of it. It's like the dress sneaker.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Fuck. I don't.
You know, a little sleek, but I have a pair of those.
Like, I was like, well, no, I mean, dress shoes are a whole different ballgame. So, like, I have dress shoes from Prada, Gucci, all these things. They do it great. Gucci, actually, I should say, is a good one because
dress shoes from Gucci. I don't know why. It's just like.
Well, I have horsebit loafers from them because that's just what they're known for, and that's like their, again, for me, it's all historic. Like, what are you known for, you know, in your history of a brand? But Gucci, probably the Tennis 84. That's the one I'm waiting for them to hopefully bring back without the fucking crazy snakes and shit on the side, you know, that the kids love. I get it.
I can't stand
you know, but yeah, I would say they do a fairly okay job standing out on their own as far as like sneakers go for like that lane, as well as having some nice pieces in the archive, which I'm hoping they bring back, namely that Tennis 84, which I would argue
it's scary.
You know what is scary?
It's scary that like they're so used to following trend that they don't set it. Is like my biggest issue with like.
Would you expect them to be the setters though?
No,
I don't think they're in touch enough with street culture to do that. You know,
but to pull out like one thing a year isn't terrible. To go like, you know what? Let's stick our toe in the water and see how it goes.
But perhaps we're coming at it wrong because we're from one perspective, and they're Gucci, and they're thinking, and they're owned by whoever, and they're thinking of a whole different ball game.
Like broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
we don't have to.
Not only that, but maybe we are such a small drop in the bucket for them as far as like who they're trying to accommodate. That like it's just not even on the radar. That's what I'm thinking is a bigger possibility.
Well, I mean, you know? Gucci's kind of like on timeout anyway. So, no, realistically though, it just depends on what motivates you as a brand and a company. You know what I'm saying? Like if Nike's doing it and Adidas is doing it and whoever else is doing it, and we can follow suit and still make money and a lot of money at it, who cares? But like you got to look at Nike. Nike is trend setting because they market. They market better than anybody.
Absolutely.
So
and they've got all the eyeballs, you know, because of the athletes and these stars and these whatever. But you know, granted, you know, plenty of stars wear Gucci, but it's like you don't. It just doesn't carry the same weight. It feels. You know?
The attainability is how I look at
I'm
it.
sure that's a factor.
Like
too, yeah.
I mean, as a kid who's 13, am I going to try and go out every weekend to get a Gucci piece? No, but I'll try and get a Nike piece.
Right.
Like that's easier.
That is scary though. Like for kids today, the fact that like I remember growing up, like to be in, you had to wear Abercrombie or Hollister, and that's about it.
We went to different schools.
Yeah. But that was kind of it. Now you're competing with and an Abercrombie tee was expensive at the time, especially for me and my family. But like now I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, these kids got to come in and beat each other out with Off-Whites and you know, Supreme, LV, all these like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a T-shirt. It's like, what the fuck?
My first job was in a sneaker store. If you couldn't guess that already.
Hey.
Like I tracked it. I went there. One of my friends worked. It took me a year to get in there to get my working papers, and like I got the job there because I love shoes. And my mom was like, I'm not buying you a new pair of shoes every other week. It's not going to happen. Right. So it's like I would work. You know, 80% would go to a new pair of shoes, and then you know, 20 I'd whatever go out and stunting my new pair of shoes. But like it was Tommy Hilfiger outlets because like my mom would be like, listen, we'll go to the outlets, you can get whatever you want, Polo, whatever you need from there. But like I'm not taking you shopping every week to spend $120 on like whatever it is that you want every week. It's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, Hilfiger was definitely in back then too. But again, just a whole different ballgame price point wise. So it's kind of crazy. And I mean, I had this this kid that came by, offered to like film some stuff for me too, and real nice kid. And I was asking him about it. I was like, what kind of stuff are you guys wearing in high school? And he's like, oh, you know, Supreme. I'm like, fucking A, man. But I guess that for them, it's not like everyone's walking around in a box logo. They're all walking around like those second, third tier Supreme stuff that like is semi-attainable, you know. And then they're all wearing Yeezys, and then they're all wearing American Eagle jeans. I guess that's like the big thing now.
Urban necessities, chilling.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense if that partnership happened for that reason. But
I'm not gonna lie to you, like it was ingenious. Theoretically, because like if you're spending $450 on a pair of shoes because you traded a pair of shoes for $180 and another pair for $100, because that's what they do now. Like no matter what you get, you can trade. You can trade as long as it has some kind of value to it, or somebody wants it, which you can find anywhere because of social media. Right. So you get an $80 T-shirt and you sell it for $60, or you get a $150 pair of jeans and you sell it for $120. You get a $300 pair of Yeezys, you trade for another pair of Yeezys. So they're cycling fits, which is why I won't buy anything used anymore. Like like 5 years ago, if someone was like, "Yo, lightly worn pair of Gel Light 3s," I was in there. Someone says it now. Fuck no, because you might have lightly worn, but the guy before and the guy before and the guy before, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what you've come to. People are like, oh yeah, these my friend gave them to me. I was like, how many people?
Yeah. Right. And here's the other thing that really bothers me about used, dude. I had the most horrendous experience with GOAT from a pair of sneakers I thought were fake, the Converse Off-Whites, the first ones, the clear ones. Yeah. And I brought it to their attention. They're like, no, they're real. And I was like, okay, can you explain why? Because like that's not going to cut it for me. Like the stitching I'm seeing is totally different from the stock images. In the stock images, you see the Converse logo intersect with the off-white font on the medial side. Yes. But apparently at the bigger sizes, past size 9, they don't intersect. So why you couldn't just tell me that? Like, why'd I have to learn this after I make a YouTube video about it that gets 100-something odd? Like it blew up, like my fastest growing video by far. And people in the comments are like, oh, no, you're okay, man. It's just, you know, at the bigger sizes, they don't intersect. Mine did the same thing, and I got mine retail. Different. Yeah. So, but how hard is it just to say that as a company, first of all? Second of all, they didn't come with the standard laces with the green tips, I think it was, that come standard with that shoe. They just didn't come with it. And I asked them, I was like, where the fuck are the green laces? That's another clue to me, at least, that these aren't maybe real.
Something's off here.
And to that, they were just like, oh, yeah, sorry, for used shoes, we don't guarantee accessories. I'm like, what? What kind of fucking policy is that? First of all, you want to have that policy, fine, but fucking declare that shit. Be like, we're not, you know. And I did look back, yeah. If you look in, even for StockX, I think they mentioned this, because they did the same thing to me with the Off-White Mercurial Flyknits, the soccer shoe. Yeah. I'd have to have one of everything, you know. Okay. So I saw your review on them, and that beautiful orange bag that comes with it. Mine didn't come with it, and it wasn't even used. But the fine print under the sneaker says not all products are guaranteed to come with accessories.
Did it say in the? So they were brand new, the pair that you bought?
Brand new, it just didn't come with the bag. So I'm like, where the fuck is the bag?
That's so weird.
It's so weird. And then not only that.
That's got to depreciate the value, though. Like at the end of the day. So
and I've seen them do this where they'll post a shoe, and so like for example, I'm trying to think of an example, like the Sean Witherspoons. There's a set that comes with like all the extras, and then there's a set that doesn't, and they put 2 listings on StockX for that. Yeah, there's 2 separate listings. They didn't do that with this shoe, first of all. Second of all, they do ride it, but kind of like in small print underneath. It's not like fully declared.
It's like, hey.
Yeah, and it's and what's the other thing? And again, back to GOAT in this specific example with the Converse. They said because it's used, that's why we don't guarantee there's no accessory. So there's no declaration of it. And then on top of that, it's like you're taking that as a policy also. It's like, bro, sometimes the whole reason I buy a sneaker is because of the alternate set of laces that come with that sneaker. That's the only way I'm going to wear it. And that's the only reason I'm going to buy it. And then for you to like not even
acknowledge,
you know, it's just like so fucking, ugh.
That's a weird scenario too, because I feel like it puts me in a room where like, okay, I'm good. I don't want it. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like
So
if I were to buy Ronnie 25th anniversary homage pair, and you were like, oh, here's the shoe, it didn't come with any of the fucking laces. There's 13 sets of laces,
right?
Keychains, socks. Like, where's the rest of that?
It's as much a part of the shoe, if anything, you know.
Absolutely.
Especially for guys like us that like enjoy. And I know Tone keeps all his boxes. You know, just like the box is a part of the whole experience. You know, let alone all the little things that come in. Yeah. Maybe not you, but
I do have a storage unit with stuff in it. I have a box filled with boxes. and they're boxes from shoes. Obviously, that like I want to keep the box, but like it doesn't look as good with the shoe shelves. So you know what, let me crumble the. I didn't crumble them, but I just disassembled them, took the glue nicely, and just tucked them all inside of a box. So if I ever get my Yeezys or whatever, like the box is there.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to start getting creative with my box situation because I'm running out of space.
Honestly, just take a day and just unfold them, and you can layer them all inside of.
Yeah, but then like I also keep all the little things in it, like the extra laces, the receipts, if it came with like a little extra thing, like a little keychain or whatever.
Organized. I'm not that organized.
Well, just because to me it's like it's all part of the experience. So like because I'm thinking about myself. 8, 9, 10 years, 11 years from now, if I was that kid that wanted that sneaker that came out in 2011 that I just can't find anymore, and then now I found it, but oh wait, it also comes with the box and the original receipt and all these little extras that came with it.
You don't give a shit.
True, but at that point you don't give a shit. But I still do. Like I will. So there's a pair of New Balance Crooked Tongue Blackbeard. I forget what.
The red and black pair.
Yeah. And I could not find this thing for the life of me, let alone in my size. Finally, it popped up on my size on eBay, and I just scrolled to the bottom where it says new with box versus used box or no box or whatever. Yeah. And I was scrolling down like, please don't say no box. Please don't say no box. Fuck, no box. So I didn't pull the trigger. I was like, dude, I'm not. The box is half the shoe for me. Yeah.
That's like half the struggle for me because like I'm gonna wear them. They're gonna get worn.
Yeah.
If it's a shoe that like I'm on the fence about, I have like a year thing. So if I buy a shoe and it goes in my closet and it's there for a year and like I don't wear it right away because usually when I do the review, like I'm like, I'm gonna wear these. I know I got a fit for this. I'm gonna wear these shits next week or whatever. Okay, that doesn't happen. They go in the closet. They sit there for a year. Once that year goes up, I get rid of them. That's like
that's a good system.
That's my standard thing to try and keep the number down because I've like it's like a virus in my house. Like, shoes I went from a room and now there's more containers down a wall in the kitchen. It's like it looks decent. But, like, it's a lot of shoes.
Yeah,
so, like, I'm trying to find ways creatively to, like, trim this shit down because it's wild.
Yeah, I've never sold a pair. So, like, I've kept everything I have.
Where?
In that room. You'll see. Yeah. But with one exception, actually. I recently, the infrared, and not infrared, Jesus Christ, Hot Lava Nike Air Tech Challenge 2s came back out, right? Mm-hmm. And more truer to the OG than ever. And I already had the 2014 pair, and it was starting to yellow a little bit, which I really don't like. So I was thinking about doing a giveaway, but then one of these fans reached out and said, "Oh no, I'll just buy them off you. I really like this." So I was like, "Fuck it, man, this kid really wants them. Let me just give it to him." And so I sold him that. But other than that, I've never sold.
Did you discount him the price?
Discount him the price?
Yeah. So like sometimes when I'm going to sell something and somebody like I'll be like, "Oh, just offer up," and like they'll tell me like, I'll give you $250 for it, but like really, I was looking for $180. I gave it to him for $180.
Oh, okay.
Like
I can't remember what price we decided on, but like I ended up not making really much off it because
$40.
No, it was like $100, and then $30 of it was just to ship it to him. So it was just like, so I only made like $70 off it. So whatever. But more importantly, I cleared the space for it so I could put in this new and improved version. New one. But outside that, I've never sold a pair. So
these mics are nice, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that wasn't even that bad. $50. The shock absorber I think was like another $15-20. These were like $15-20, and then this whole setup here was just $600.
That's it's a nice little hit.
Yeah,
for the setup, that's not terrible though.
Yeah.
Link below for all of the equipment used in this video. I don't know. I always do that too. Like I'll go look. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, what'd you use?" All right.
Yeah, I wonder if I should start. I mean, no one's been asking me, but whatever. I mean, the podcast isn't super big right now.
I asked.
It's like it's slowly growing. Like I just got it on Spotify today, so now we're finally up on all these audio apps. YouTube obviously is my biggest focus because that's where my biggest audience is. But they haven't been fucking with it as much as like my sneaker history, hypebeast history type series.
Why don't
you
incorporate like a challenge during your podcast, like the hot one shit? Obviously not hot ones when somebody does that, but like something else.
What do you mean, like a challenge?
Yeah, like do something interactive on the podcast. Like I'm not going to jump out the window with a parachute. It's not going to happen.
Well, no, I mean, so I have a format when I'm by myself. Like I'll do a medical topic. It's called Medicine Made Easy with Dr. Azizi, and I'll just go through a little thing,
That's nice. That's a nice.
And then those videos are doing okay. But those are more like evergreen content. Like those will be, they're not relying on a release calendar or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'll go into a hypebeast history segment where I'll discuss either a specific shoe, specific brand, whatever that we're still working on. But the feedback I've been getting lately is like fans aren't fucking with it as much because it's not as raw and in your face like my old videos. So I'm playing with getting back into that. And then a sneaker release segment just to be real quick about it because everyone wants that shit, right? And then
how many you got? I still watch.
Yeah,
I do. I still watch other ones. I was like, oh, all right, what's going on today?
Yeah, right. And then
Topics are topics, man.
yeah. And then I rolled that right into a Lakers topic because I'm a big Lakers fan and they're relevant again.
Oh, you like the Lakers?
Yeah, dude. and then a sports, a general sports segment, and then just a live Q&A, and then I end it. So that's how I do it when I'm alone. When I have a guest, usually a comedian, but in this case you, we just shoot the shit.
Funny at all.
Usually we just shoot the shit, and then I just bust it up into segments, whatever sounds interesting. John will anyway, and then that's it.
That's the one good thing about the podcast. You can always it's super easy to just cut shit.
Yeah.
It's so hard in the video. Like doing the YouTube, I don't like cutting stuff.
It doesn't feel like. I mean, I could tell you. Yeah, I'm saying for the breakdown, I could tell you cut sometimes, but I don't. Is there anything you really need to cut? Nothing we're talking about.
So sometimes there's some flagrant verbiage that could not be used. Plus, like a while ago, someone had hit me up on the channel, and sometimes I use words. I'm not gonna say the word. It's like R words for special needs.
Retard.
And I would say that, but oh, what are you fucking retarded? Like I would say it like
someone
that.
gives you problems about it?
No. He was like, listen, man, I really enjoy your show, and my brother he's handicapped, and I feel a type of way when I watch, and it hit me a little bit. So I was like, you know what? And I told the two of them, so whenever it comes up, I'll try and cut that out.
Gotcha.
Out of respect for the dude. I don't obviously fuck, who gives a shit? I don't curse in anger, so it's it's just happy go lucky. But sometimes people take offense to it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think I'm glad you brought that up because I'll say retard a bunch, but I obviously I'm saying it in context of I'm clearly not trying to make fun of retarded people, and I'm a doctor. I help people. I'm a healer, right? Yeah. So I'm fully sympathetic to that fact. But you're right, man. If someone personally reaches out and just dude, this kind of makes me feel a certain way, and they're a fan of yours, it definitely hits different. So I can imagine if someone reached out and said something to me about it, it would affect the way I feel about it. But at the same time, it's also man, I pray that certain words just feel good to say, and it's just I just pray that other people could just see it in the other way. It's just please understand context. Please understand this has nothing to do with handicaps.
As comedy goes, it's definitely trickier.
Especially with comedy, because sometimes just saying the word retard is funny. Not just saying, I shouldn't say that, but it's not like you can just get up on stage and say retard and everyone laughs. That's not what I mean. But works at all. It actually will not work, astoundedly. But what I mean more is sometimes it's just funnier to say that as opposed to insert whatever other alternative words. So it's just that beauty of using different words in those different contexts that I wish more people had the nuance to understand. But
sometimes it just fits. Yeah. You could say dumbfound, or you could be oh fuck, right. And it just makes it what it needs to be.
Right.
And I get that 100%, but like you said, being on a platform, it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough. And yeah, dude, it's at some point you realize some people just aren't capable of thinking a certain way. And this applies especially to comedy, but it's just how you'll say the word rape joke, right? And then you'll do a rape joke. Now, the point of the joke isn't rape, right? Or even more relevant example, the old XXXTentacion Venmo joke. You heard about this?
No.
So in this setting, there's this comedian, Dina Hashem, who has a very dry sense of humor, more of a roast battle comic.
Okay.
And she had this joke where on Comedy Central, she said something to the effect of, XXXTentacion was on his way to buy a car with $50,000 in cash, and when he got shot. And then she said something to the effect of, is there any better advertisement to download Venmo? Something like that. You see, you're laughing, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
so the joke used a figure that died, a prominent figure that died, that meant a lot of things to a lot of people. But the point of the joke wasn't that he died. The point of the joke was, look at this funny little factoid that no one else would have thought of, but it's hilarious, right?
Yeah, I just downloaded Venmo too. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, right.
But you have to have a certain mindset, and most people don't.
That's my point. So unfortunately, other people's mindset, the same way if you tell a rape joke, but the word rape isn't it, or you love this guy so much that you've already tuned out to the joke. You just heard someone bring up his name, and then someone laugh after you mentioned that he died, and then you're just lost in that headspace. You're this is wrong. This is wrong. And I understand some people just aren't capable of thinking outside of that, and I respect that. But it's it makes our job so much harder. You know what I mean?
The problem, the bigger issue that I think that it kind of brings up is the fact that they hate you. They literally start to dislike you because of their mindset.
Yeah.
Which is scary to actually see that happen. Even at a release, people hate me. They hate me because I said that you can't go in at this particular spot in line. You weren't here. Like you weren't here. This kid was here.
Right.
Fuck you. What did I didn't even say anything.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm being the realist I can be about the situation. Like you don't see the fault in what's going on or the truth in what's going on. It blows my mind. It blows my mind.
And you have to bear that because you know.
And then they go. Then like they'll go and complain about a security guard or this or that. But like you weren't here.
Right.
How is that anybody else?
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's no room for debate. Like especially on an online platform, it's like that's it. You're so removed from it. And then on the other end, they're removed from it, just hiding behind an anonymous username. It's just like there's all that disconnect, so it leads to all this room for festering bullshit.
I just kill them with kindness.
That's what I tend to do. Yeah.
Theoretically, like, well, not theoretically. In theory, like what I like to do is just if you can come at me with negativity, I just respond in the inverse to that with positivity. So you like, oh, well, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, well, I mean, that's your opinion. You can have your opinion. I appreciate your opinion. I'm glad you enjoyed our opinion or didn't enjoy our opinion from the show. Have a great day.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's nothing. What do you want to do? You want to argue with you on the internet? I don't care. Like, I don't want you to feel like you're not being heard because that's usually where that comes from.
Yep.
People who feel like they're not being heard tend to spew more bullshit because they need that attention. So I'll give you a little attention. Here you go. Yeah. I see your comment. I appreciate that you wrote. I even like the fact that you viewed it. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Bye.
absolutely. And sometimes they'll respond back with kind of like, holy shit, man. Like, my bad. I was having a rough day, actually. And
Absolutely. It happens more times than not where like that negative comment becomes a conversation and then the whole view is changed.
Yep.
So like I never shy away from that.
Absolutely.
Please hate. Please, I don't care. I like those because it's interactive. Because sometimes you can get a real perspective. Like we'll talk about Reddit for a minute. Like I found you on Reddit recently.
Oh yeah,
it was like 6 months ago. It was a while ago now. But anyway, like I was like, honestly, I like going to Reddit because they give you some of it's troll, but like it's a real perspective.
Yeah.
And like you can have an actual debate. Whereas like on Instagram, like people who like you follow you. Like your post can show up anywhere on Reddit, and people are like, "Oh, I fucking hate this guy. Your shoe is horrible. Your lace job's trash. Your picture's crap. And it's not even just sneaker people. It's photography people. It's video people. Like there's a slew of professionals that are watching your shit, and you're like, "Oh, damn, I'm fucking up." You go on Instagram, like, "Oh my god, we love it." And you're like,
right.
Wait, how the fuck did this happen? What?
Although I tend to find sneaker Reddit, what I appreciate about it is a lot more raw content, meaning a lot less polished photos, a lot less like, okay, we dedicated a day to get a photo shoot out of this. I didn't edit this in Photoshop for like 8 hours. Like this is just like, hey man, these are my first pair of sneakers I got for my homie who just passed away from this, or like, I just broke up with my girlfriend and I got these pairs, and it's just like a very basic iPhone photo. And that's it. And it shoots up to the front of the page as it should. It's just like it's less about how good of a photo is this. And it's more about like, okay, what kind of stories are we adding to these sneakers that we love?
The good thing about that is you can post your sneaker photo in photography and see how it does. But like seriously,
true.
You can take that content because if you're looking for that kind of critique on like how nice your photo is, just go to photography.
Right.
Put it in there.
Yeah.
I did this in Illustrator. How was it? Oh God, I'm not doing that again. I gotta.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy looking at some of those photos on Reddit too. But I feel like on Instagram, I just see it more just because it's so fucking saturated. Like people, I feel like feel obligated to do so, unless you're bringing a different perspective, like mine, which is just wacky captions and being goofy about it. But
what's that? What's that line? What's it? What do you? Oh my God! Every time I'm like, wait, what did you say? The line that you use. You always use the same thing. When you're talking.
It what it e?
Yeah, there you go. And I'm like, wait, what is going on right now? And then he starts his comments off like that on the YouTube too. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on? And I have to read it 8 times to be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, so that's just me finding my quote Instagram voice. So like that's just how I think in my brain. So and sometimes I'll spew it on like a private Facebook status that I know no one will see. But lately, I was just like, fucking man, I just want to be more and more authentic to who I am, even though like it's going to be cringe, but I just got to own my cringe. You know what I mean?
Fuck it.
And it tends to work out because like now you get people that are like reading it just to enjoy the caption. Like, dude, I'm reading this in your voice and it's hilarious. It's just like, that feels good. It's like, all right, yeah, you got. But then you get, like I was telling you off air, the fucking like the hate watchers also are entertaining. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like,
stop it, but give me more.
Yeah, right. Dude, it's hilarious. But anyway, I don't want to keep this up. I know you're antsy to see the sneaker closet. So,
yeah.
So anything.
Not antsy. I also drank a whole glass of water. And my bladder feels like it's going to implode and explode.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Then. Anything else you wanted to bring up before we wrap up here?
I appreciate you. Congratulations on the comedy endeavor.
Thanks,
I do appreciate that you're going after something that you want to go after.
Which we should also talk about off air. I want to set up a sneaker boutique themed comedy type show. I think we could really make a really dope thing, man.
I'm with everything.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's talk about it. Stay tuned for that, I guess. And where can we find you again?
You could find me at the Campout on Instagram, spelled with a 0. Same thing on Twitter. Same thing on YouTube. You can catch me weekly on the Hype Report at Hypebeast Radio or hypebeast.com/radio.
Boom. Thanks for joining, guys. Later.
Easy.
Peace.